All right, so talking about inverse functions today. Okay, you know the additive inverse, just the opposite, and the multiplicative inverse is, that's 5/1, so you flip it, it's reciprocal. Okay, so you guys know what inverses are. All right, so you can apply inverses to relations and functions. That's what we're looking at today. To graph an inverse relation, you can reflect each point across the line of y equals x. This is equivalent to switching the x and y values in each ordered pair of the relations. So that's basically all we're going to do, is switch the x and the y's and solve for y. Again, a relation, just to remind you, a relation is a set of ordered pairs. A function is a relation in which each x value has at most one y value paired with it, or I always say one and only one. So for every x, there's one and only one y. For a relation, a set of ordered pairs, to be a function. Okay, so here's a relation. Okay, so they plot the points 0, 2, 1, 5, 5, 6, 8, 9. And if you want to do its inverse, you just change the x's, change all these y's and put them in for x, and all these x's and put them in for y. Okay? So that's all you're doing to find the inverse. Okay? Remember, domain is your x values, range is your y values. So all you're doing is switching domain and range. And on the next slide, they show you how they did it there. Okay? So the blue one is 0, 2, 1, 5, 5, 6, 8, 9. 0, 2, 1, 5. What's that one? 5, 6. That's a little bit off. 8, 9. And then they switched them. Okay? This green dashed line is what they were talking about. You can reflect each point across the y equals x line. That's the y equals x. All right? 0, 0, if they're equal. If x is 1, y is 1. When x is 2, y is 2. When x is 4, y is 4. So it's just that, it's like a 45-degree cutting it in half, that first quadrant. So inverses will always reflect each other. If I would fold along that green dashed line, they would reflect each other and they would fall on top of each other. Okay? And the domains and the ranges just switch. That's what they did here. The domain was 0 to 8, and the range goes from 0 to 8. The range of the blue one was 2 to 9. The domain of the red one becomes 2 to 9. So you're just switching x's and y's. Okay? When the relation is also a function, you can write the inverse of the function as f to the negative 1 power. That means inverse. Again, it does not mean reciprocal. Right? So in a function, if you put 3 in, what's 3 plus 6? You get 9. If you have its inverse, when you put 9 in, 9 minus 6, you get 3, the opposite. They just switch. Okay, that's what happens with inverses. You can use the inverse operation, but all we're going to do is switch the x and the y and solve for y. That's how we're going to do this. Okay? All right? So if you've got, and they're going to write it like this to start. They'll write it in function form. So let's just say, x plus 2, make it real easy. All right? Most of the time we think of it like this, y equals x plus 2. That's how we think of that, right? All we're going to do it's changed this y to x and that x to y. Then we're going to solve for y. We're going to get y by itself. That's all you got to do to define these inverses. Okay? So here's an example. F of x, x minus 1/2. So that's y equals, that's the same thing. So we're going to switch it. Okay, we're going to make this the x. All right, y becomes x, x becomes the y. And then we just solve for y. So what do I do to get y by itself? Add 1/2. It's not difficult at all. So that's how you write inverse. F to the -1 power. Okay. Guys remember this from last year now? We did do this last year, okay? So again, I would just write, this is the original problem. I usually, instead of f of x, use the y. And then I switch it. I make this x the y, and the x becomes the y. The y becomes the x becomes the y. How do I move the 3? Multiply both sides by 2. All right, so 3x then equals the inverse. Is that making sense to you? That's all we're doing. All right? All right, so that's what we're thinking to start. We're going to switch them. X, y becomes the x, the x becomes the y. So what's the first step to get y by itself? What am I going to move first? The 5, right? How do I move it? We add it, right? My negative sign kind of got messed up. Let's see if I can move that. No, there's a negative still there. I don't know where it went. So how do I get rid of that negative 1/2? Yeah, multiply by -2, right? That's easier than dividing by -1/2, right? That's usually what we do. So that's what they did. They just switched sides, man. But to get rid of that -1/2, we multiply both sides by -2. You can leave it like that, or if you want to distribute and make it -2x minus 10, you can. And remember, you can rewrite that as f inverse if you want. If you don't, that's okay. I'm not going to worry about that too much. That's basically it. That easy today. Okay? Can we handle that? Great. That's it. Day off yesterday, easy day today, right?